Hi, welcome to Essential IT and Security Skills. I'm Charles Redmond, Master Trader, here to guide you through the essentials that you are going to need to land the job that you are looking for. In this series, we're going to talk about essential PC skills. I'm going to walk you through everything from software to hardware. Most people know me as a cybersecurity expert. Well, I couldn't have gotten there without learning the basics first. That's what this series is going to do. And then we'll move on in some later series with some more advanced concepts and techniques. But remember, it all starts with the basics. It starts right here, the essential PC skills. In Windows 2000 and newer, you can use the disk management tool to offer an improved kind of disk partition called a dynamic disk. A dynamic disk enables you to enlarge partitions without first deleting the partitions and risk losing data. Here's a look at converting to dynamic disk in the disk management console. So an important note is that dynamic disks do not contain primary and extended partitions. Instead, they're divided into volumes. Dynamic disks support several types of volumes: simple volumes, spanned volumes, and extended volumes. You have a few different types of dynamic disk volumes to deal with: a striped volume, two or more dynamic disks that are spread out blocks of each file across multiple disks, or a mirrored volume. You'll find this in Windows 7 Professional, Enterprise, and Ultimate editions. You can create a mirrored set with two drives for data redundancy, or RAID 1. Here's a look at two striped drives in the disk management console. And here's a look at selecting a mirror drive. You also have the option of selecting a dynamic disk volume that is a striped volume with parity. We learned this before as RAID 5. This applies to all professional versions of Windows XP, Windows Vista, and Windows 7. However, for those operating systems, you can make the array only on a Windows Server machine that you can access remotely across a network. Now let's talk about mount points. While partitions and volumes can be assigned a drive letter D through Z, they can also be mounted as a folder on another drive. This is known as a mount point. This enables you to use your existing folders to store more data than can fit on a single drive or partition. From the simple volume wizard, it's easy to create a mount point. Windows makes it extremely easy to format a partition. You can do it from the Windows Explorer or the disk management console. Let's take a look at proper maintenance and troubleshooting of your hard drives. First, we'll deal with error checking. Error checking scans for bad clusters on your hard drive. You'll often hear this referred to by its old name of ScanDisk, or you can simply open up a command line prompt and type chkdsk. It also checks for invalid file names and looks for lost clusters or chains that do not have a file name associated with it. By right-clicking on your C drive, navigating down to Properties, and then select the Tools file. From here, you can check the drive, you can set it to fix errors automatically, and you can scan for and recover bad sectors. Next, we have the disk defragmenter. This is something with the Windows operating system you should consider using regularly. It's recommended either monthly or weekly, depending on how much your computer is used. However, I run the disk defragmenter at night or during the overnight because it will significantly slow down your system while it's running. You'll also see the disk defragmenter referred to by many techs and on the CompTIA A+ exam as defrag. Here's a look at a comparison between Windows 7 on the left and Windows XP on the right of what the disk defragmenting tool looks like. Windows 7 automatically defrags disks once a week. You can adjust the schedule as needed. Another advantage to using a solid-state drive is you no longer have to defrag them. So in Windows 7, it's automatically identified as you're using a solid-state drive and it disables the scheduled defrag. Next, let's look at disk cleanup. It allows you to purge the system of unneeded files, like files in the recycle bin or temporary internet files. For instance, you can navigate to your temporary internet files and look at all the junk that's left behind from a day or a week or a month's worth of surfing the internet. Simply go into the disk cleanup utility and then check the appropriate boxes of what you want to clean up. Next, let's take a look at some common hard drive issues. There are four broad categories that they all fall in, whether it's installation errors, data corruption, dying hard drives, or RAID issues. So first we'll look at connectivity. When you start up your machine and it gives you an error that no fixed disks are present or a hard drive controller failure, generally you're dealing with a connectivity problem. One of the connections has come loose. All you need to do is check the cables to make sure they're seated properly, or go into the CMOS settings and use auto detection and see if that fixes the problem. Going into CMOS can give you a wide variety of information, especially when it comes to hard disk failures. You'll see notices such as no boot device available or drive not found. That's why it's a good idea to always run auto detect in CMOS. The next issue you can run into are partition issues. This is generally the problem when you've selected the wrong size or type of partition for the file system that you wish to install. And data corruption. Data corruption can occur by many things, such as power surges, accidental shutdowns, and viruses. They generally show up as file is missing or corrupt or unable to load file. To troubleshoot this, try running the error checking utility. One tool that I use is a tool called SpinRite. It's not very pretty, but it does a great job at recovering data from failing or failed hard drives. So what do you do if you have corrupted data on bad sectors? The built-in ECC or error correction code checks the drive for bad sectors. Disk checkers can be used to fix these problems, and Windows will give you error messages with read-write failures. Good hard drives don't fail to read or write, only dying ones do. You'll know when you have a dying hard drive because it's going to tell you. If you hear a continuous high-pitched squeal or a series of clacks or a grinding or rumbling, you have a dying hard drive. There you have it. It's pretty simple. Remember, everything starts with the basics. once you have these understood, everything gets a whole lot easier. If you have any questions or even just a comment, feel free to leave them below, and I do read each and every one of them. I'll see you next time.